Welcome to the European Champion Clubs Cup cross country, coming to you this year from the wonderful Mediterranean town of Oropesa del Mar. It nestles by the Mediterranean, and we're going to be seeing plenty of the sights and sounds of this wonderful sea that borders onto Spain and many other Mediterranean countries. Well, we have five fantastic races coming up for you across the next 3 hours. We'll be starting very shortly with the women's under 20 race, and then we go on to the men's under 20 race, the senior women's race, the senior men's race, and finishing off with the new innovation of the mixed relay, which came onto the program just 12 months ago when we were in Portugal on that occasion in Hueras. Well, as you can see, it's absolutely marvelous weather, not just for cross-country running, surfing maybe. There's the weather conditions. Little bit on the chilly side at this moment. Well, it's just coming up for 10 o'clock Central European time, 9 o'clock elsewhere to the west in places like Britain, Ireland, and also in the Canary Islands. Not too much wind. That won't bother the runners too much, fortunately, because this circuit is right by the sea. And in fact, they do actually, on every lap of this circuit, have to cover just over 200 kilometers of beach as well. So it's quite a testing, quite a windy circuit. We'll see lots more of what actually entails over the course of the morning. You'll get plenty of descriptions, plenty of sights and sounds as the day unfolds. Well, this is an absolutely terrific event. It's brought together nearly 400 runners from 25 different countries to contest these 5 races. There you can see on the start line, at the far end of the main beach in Oropesa del Mar, 65 athletes contesting the under-20 women's race from 17 clubs, 11 countries represented. Competition schedule, well, interestingly, this year the women will be racing over 5.8 kilometres, the same distance as the under-20 men. Last year, the distances were a little bit different. They were racing just over 4 kilometres, but European Athletics is now starting to put the two genders together. They're both racing more or less the same distances. Senior women, senior men, 8.7 kilometres, which means in the case of the senior men, they've actually come down from the usual 10-kilometre run which they have in this sort of championship and that they've had in the past. And then we have the mixed relay closing the championship events, and later on this morning, an open 5K. Well, European Athletics, this live stream will be showing the championship events. We've also got, of course, just to give a big plug to the European Athletics live stream, many World Athletics Indoor Tour silver and bronze meetings going on the European Athletics YouTube channel. And then indoor championships in Istanbul. Lots to look forward to on the European Athletics live stream on the European Athletics YouTube channel. And you can see everything about all the events that are coming up, and indeed links to live results from this competition on the European Athletics website. You probably know where it is if you're watching this broadcast, but just to remind you, it's www.european-athletics.org. Well, a few nervous moments. This race scheduled to go at 10 o'clock precisely, so just under 4 minutes to go. Mixture of athletes for whom this will be absolutely the biggest day that they've ever had on a racing calendar, and a few more experienced athletes as well. I'm sure we're going to see some more of the Auvergne athletes who finished third last year. Margot Dajour, she's already had several outings in a French fest, not just representing her club, but has competed at the European Cross-Country Championships as well on the last 2 occasions. Very strong team from Turkey as always, former champions, Fenerbahce, 2018-2019 winners. Shout out as well for the host club, Players de Castellón, who've done an absolutely tremendous amount of hard work and really put on a fantastic show for this competition. Well, Players de Castellón, they've been hosts a couple of times in the past in the last decade and have taken on the task of organising this event, and major credit to them. Oropesa del Mar, just to save you Googling for it, is about an hour just north of Valencia. Castellón is the local biggest town, really. Players de Castellón, of course, the defending champions in the senior women's race and the mixed relay as well. But the defending champions in this race are the Romanian side, Athletic Mica Roma. Slightly surprising winners last year, but they managed 3 women in the top 10, and they brought all 3 women back to race again. Fenerbahce could be useful as well. Sporting Club de Portugal, always a real powerhouse of cross-country running right the way across the age groups. And Auvergne as well. Fire Atletico, one of the Portuguese teams. Yogo from Ireland. They were 8th last year. Sporting Club de Portugal. Big smiles from everybody. Finn Valley, another Irish team. 2 Irish teams in this race. Finn Valley finished 6th. There we have Mika, Blaga, Budea and Marganin are their 3 runners. As I said, they all finished in the top 10 last year. Marganin finishing 5th, Budea 7th and Blaga 8th. Auvergne, well, Dajeur was 3rd last year, Sapet 10th, so they brought back a very strong team indeed. Of course, this age group, some of the athletes from last year do graduate into the under-23 and the senior ranks. And of course, we do have the European under-20 championships coming up later on this year on the track. That'll be in Jerusalem. There's Players de Castellón. Keep an eye out for Benquet there as well. Spanish Junior International on the track. Everybody being delighted to be here. Well, the sun's not too hot and the wind's not too bad, so should be in for a great race. Be very interesting to see. 5.8 kilometers may be very testing for this age group of athletes. As I said, more used to running cross-country around the 4 kilometer mark, so probably running about 20% further than the majority of them are expecting. And there's the countdown. Just 10 seconds to go for the first race of this European Champion Clubs Cup cross-country. See some athletes starting to really push quite hard at the front. There's a 30-meter run-in until the first of 3 long laps of 19,020 meters. Already the Romanians showing very strongly at the moment. Also see the red vests of Players de Castellón. So this long twisting circuit right by the sea. This is the 250-meter sandy stretch across the beach. This early pace has meant that this field has already strung out.
Local team, Playas de Castellón, is a very, very strong team with the national under-20 champion, Maya Becker, together with Monica Lizano, international 800-meter runner,
mix of clubs in the leading pack there. Players Castillon looking as though they've got 3 women in the leading group. It's twist and turning. Got a bit of pathway there. That helps them back onto the grass course. See up there, athletes as well from Sporting Club de Portugal. Fenerbahce up there as well at this early stage of the race. Well, just over a kilometre. Just under a kilometre, I should say, just coming up to the kilometre mark. So they're about halfway round the first of 3 circuits in Oropesa del Mar. On this occasion it's going to be very dry underfoot, very quick. So the track specialists have an advantage here compared to perhaps the Northern Europeans, like the Belgians, who are more used to very heavy, muddy surfaces. Interesting overhead shot, showing you as the runners as they navigate the parkland just off to one side of the beach. So still a group leading at the front. About 8 women who've managed to separate themselves from the rest. These little steeplechase barriers just to provide a little bit of a testing circuit and break up their rhythm a little bit. Just wonder later in the race if that is going to be a little bit tricky. Certainly a few of those women finding that slight incline up that sandy slope quite difficult. So at this stage it's the Fenerbahce athlete leading. Then Carter, Players de Castillon, then 2 of the Auvergne team up there. Players de Castillon having 2 in the top 5 at the moment. But Fenerbahce have got 3 in that group as well. So it's looking as though the team battle is going to be between Players de Castillon, Auvergne and so it is Fanny Sapet up there with Adiba Yagiz. Bencart in the green vest of Pliers de Castillon. Said they were in the red vest earlier. That was a mistake on my part, I'm afraid. The Romanians at the moment packing very well as well. They're three runners, all three of those women from last year who finished in the top 10. They're up there once again. So now as we embark on the second lap, just over 6 minutes for that first lap. Also includes that 30-meter run-in. So now it's Bencart challenging Yagiz at the front. It's Sapet and Dagier, the two French women as well, who finished in the top 10 last year, up there in places 4 and 5 at the moment. So Yagiz, the Turkish runner from Fenerbahce, the famous multi-sport club, famous for its football team as well. She finished 8th in Turin at the last European cross-country championships in December, so very useful runner indeed in this age group. We'll know one or two of the other runners. She's still only 17 years of age, so assuming Fenerbahce do want to qualify to come back next year, she's got another 2 years in this rank. She only turned 17 last month. There's Bencart to Pliers de Castillon, also up there as well, challenging. Pliers de Castillon, though, struggling for support at the moment. Probably out of the medals as far as the teams are concerned, and this is very much a team competition. Sapet's up there. And Dagier as well. Dagier, the slightly shorter of the two French women. So it's now really down to 3 women. Sapet's starting to drift back a little bit in 5th place at the moment. Looks like one of the Romanians trying to get up with the leading pack. It's a nice shot going down the field. So up the front, it's Yagiz of Fenerbahce, Bencart of Pliers de Castillon, just holding on. Dagier, 3rd last year, 3rd in this race at the moment, but she's a very experienced runner in the age group. She's competed for France on several occasions, so she knows what elite competition's like. So, 3.5 kilometers completed at this stage. Bencart trying to get up on the shoulder of Yagiz. Dagier just biding her time. She looks very confident and comfortable behind the leading pair, just on the shoulder. Hasn't really made much of the running this stage. Turk in front, the 17-year-old Adina Yagiz looks very good indeed at this stage. Benkert starting to pull away. Now, this is a surprise. Benkert, very useful runner, but she's decided to make her move with about 2 kilometers from, just under 2 kilometers indeed, just giving it a go at this stage. She's really starting to oppose authority. Well, you can just imagine that Benkert's got family and friends dotted around the course. She's really managed to put daylight between herself and Yagiz and Dajir in a very short space of time. It's only taken 200 or 300 meters. So there we see Mariam Benkert, Adiba Yagiz, and Margot Dajir. That's the 1, 2, and 3. Then the Romanians, Hudea and Blaga. Marganin, who finished 5th last year, drifting back a little bit in 7th at the moment. Fanny Sapet. So this is starting to look as though it's going to be a battle royal between Auvignon, Mika Roma, and also Pliers de Castillon for the team title. It's of course the focus of attention of the European Champion Clubs Cup cross country. It's an event that goes back all the way back to 1962. Women started racing in this competition in 1982 and junior races were added in 2006. Well, Mariam Benkert really powering away now, looking very strong indeed. Doesn't look like Yagiz and Dajir are going to be in much of a position to be able to challenge her. She's still got around 1,700 meters to go though. That's just over 4 laps of the track. That's possibly what they're thinking as well. And just looking behind, she's a very strong athlete. Not perhaps the tidiest of running styles. She's doing a very effective job of really pulling away from the 2 women behind her. And Yagiz, well, Yagiz, very good runner indeed. 8th, just missing out on the medals, and I'm sure she'll return on several occasions to the European cross-country championships. Dajir starting to look as though she's struggling just a little bit. There's a bit of daylight between Yagiz and Dajir in 2nd and 3rd places, and the Romanians now starting to close as well on the women in 2nd and 3rd place. So Hudea and Blaga getting back into contention maybe for individual honours, but looking at this stage, it does look as though Mika Roma might well be in a very good position to defend their title. But it's Mariam Benkert at the moment who's striding away to individual victory. Well, there's never been a Spaniard who's won the under-20 women's race. So she's on course for a little bit of history. Pliers de Castillon 4th last year. Look as though she's not getting much support from her teammates. It looks as though Pliers might be out of the medals. It looks as though she's well on her way to getting a place on the podium. Just needs to focus now. Probably about 1 kilometre left to go. She's looking very closed at this stage. Starting to look just a little bit tired, but the women behind her perhaps struggling even more. Once again, another glance over her shoulder though. It's difficult to assess the gap, and it's looking as though it might be about 10 to 12 seconds now. It's roughly about 70 meters. There you can see some of the other women coming into shot, very tired with that challenging beach section of this circuit. So I wouldn't fancy having to run 200 meters over that. But it's Mariam Benkert now. really on her way home. I'm sure there's going to be big cheers. Start and finish lines almost adjacent. Absolutely terrific race from Benke. Well, this will be certainly the biggest race of her life. She's never competed in a major championship before, but she really impressed recently with some of her indoor running. Around 9:48 for 3,000 meters indoors recently in Madrid, and that's a very good time in the under 20 age groups. She's still ploughing away. So just a few hundred meters away from the finish line. On this open course, you'll be able to see it. She'll be able to assess how far away she is. You can see now the big distance. Yagi is just coming round. Yagi now has managed to pull away from Dagier. Second and third at the moment in camera shot. I make it about a 15-second difference, about an 80-meter gap between Benke, Pliers de Castillon, and Yagis of Fenerbahce. But the Romanians, Mika Roma, have got three men. Go to Mika Roma. Individual accolades to this young Spanish woman, Miriam Benkart. She's probably setting her sights on qualifying. There we go. What a win. And Yagis makes up a bit of ground in the home straight, but it's too late. It's about a 10-second difference unofficially. Margot Dagier takes third place for the second successive year, and the first of the Romanians home. So Mika Roma, fourth and fifth, Blaga and Hudea. Good improvement from Blaga. Well, now the big question is, where is the third Romanian? And she's just coming into shot now. So coming home is Margonian. So Margonian completes the scoring trio for Romania. They're confirmed, albeit unofficially, as the women's under 20 team champions, but the individual honours go to Mariam Benkert. Well, Avignon have got two women in the top 8. Dagier followed home by Fanny Sapet. Sapet 10th last year, 8th on this occasion. Fenerbahce, two women in the top 10 as well, Yagis and Kilik. So it's going to be really tight for the other places on the podium for the team competition, as the rest of the runners slowly make their way home. Well, some tired runners out there. That would have been really testing 5.8 kilometers for some of these young women. Used to running maybe 3,000 meters on the track, 4,000 meters cross country, but coming into this competition knowing they've got to run almost 6 kilometers, 5.8 kilometers, is really a tough call. Well, you can see there, those are the standings in the team competition at the bottom of your screen. Nice graphic. So first is the Romanian club Mika Roma, defending their title from 12 months ago in Hueras. Second, Fenerbahce, former winners in 2018-2019. Second on this occasion. And third, second last year, but having to settle for the bronze medals is CA Auvignon, Clermont Atletismo Auvignon. So quite a gap between the leading three teams and fourth place. Italians. Fires de Castillon fifth, the host club. But they'll have a little celebration of their own, no doubt, with the women's winner. Just see the remainder of these 65 runners come home. Still quite a few runners out on the course, still about 15 runners out there. There's confirmation of the standings. Mika Roma take the team title with 15 points. About 24, just edging out Auvignon.
Muy buenos días, pues estamos con la ganadora de esta primera carrera, la carrera sub-20, es Marian Benker. Bueno, Marian, enhorabuena y cuéntame, ¿qué tal es correr en este... Vaya. ¿Qué tal es correr? Vamos a intentarlo otra vez en este circuito tan especial aquí en Castelló.
Bueno, pues la semana pasada estuve en Ortuella, en el Campeonato de España de Selecciones, y la verdad que con poder correr ya me conformaba porque el otro día era imposible. Y bueno, las primeras vueltas muy bien, la primera vuelta y media, pero luego a medida que pasabas vueltas, el terreno de la arena costaba un poco, la verdad. Como que te quedabas ahí y costaba avanzar, pero la verdad que muy bien, me gustó mucho, la verdad. Y también está guay.
Bueno, la semana pasada campeona de España sub-20, como decías, en Ortuella. Hoy aquí has ganado la Copa de Europa de clubes con la camiseta del Playas. En muy buena forma. Yo no sé qué esperas de esta temporada.
Bueno, pues tuve unos meses un poco malillos en la temporada de cross anterior y la verdad que desde el Goibar hasta ahora me estoy encontrando muy bien, cada vez más fuerte y pues yo creo que van saliendo las cosas. Muy contenta, la verdad.
Bueno, pues muchas gracias, Mariam. Es Marian Benker, la ganadora de la carrera sub-20, la campeona de España. El Playas de Castellón empieza la competición con un triunfo individual. Es para cuando ha sonado.
Bueno, gracias. Muy bien. Primera hecha. Claro.
Rather splendid start already. Some nice pictures of the mountains in the Valencia region, just to the north. There we have the results. So you already know broadly what happened out there, but just to confirm, Mika Roma, 15 points. The Romanian team takes the team title for the second year running, and Fenerbahce came here and take the silver medals with Auvignon, 26 points. They're having to settle for third place this year. A little bit further back, Racca from Italy, and then Playas de Castillon. 13 clubs completing a scoring trio. I think there might have been one or two women who found it very, very tough indeed and might have dropped out. This is only 13 clubs who've completed a scoring threesome. Did have 17 clubs on the start line, so maybe a couple of clubs had incomplete finishings. So here's the highlights. go, Marion Benkart crossing the line. And she has every right to feel very pleased with that performance. Good outing as well from the young 17-year-old Turk. Yagiz, she looks a talent as well. Margot Dacheux still has another year in this under-20 ranks as well. I'm just wondering whether we'll see those three women on the start line contesting the 3,000 metres at the European Under-20 Championships in Jerusalem coming up this coming August. Of course, this competition in recent years has been very much based in Iberia. This year on the Mediterranean coast. Last year it was in Oeiras on the southern Atlantic coast of Portugal. In recent times, yes, we have very much tended to concentrate on being in this part of the world. Just looking back. Well, before the pandemic caused so much upheaval in the world, not just to the athletics calendar, we had this competition in Albufeira in 2017 and 2019, Mirda as well in 2018, Madrid back in 2015. So it's been the southern European countries that have generally taken on the hosting of these championships. It's been a long time since we were anywhere else. You have to turn the clock back to 1997. But the last time it was anywhere other than Turkey, Italy, Spain and Portugal. And on that occasion we were in Wales. There you can see the under-20 men just jogging back to the start line, just getting ready. They've done their warm-up. Oropesa del Mar, not difficult to get to. You just take the train out of Valencia. It's a town of around 9,000 people. Quite a popular holiday destination. So as you can see, this race will be over the same distance as the under-20 women, 5.8 kilometres. So quick 30-metre run-in, and then they start on the circuit, and it's a 1920-metre circuit. 3 large circuits to be navigated. Now this brings together 66 athletes, 17 clubs representing 12 different countries. Man to look out for is the man who finished 3rd last year. Here's the lineup of the countries and the clubs though. Spain, the host country and the host club, represented by Playas de Castellón, and also quite a new name on the club scene, Menorca. So the Balearic club qualifying to compete here. We also have Fenerbahce in this competition as well. Well, the Fenerbahce men have also done well historically in the past. Playas de Castellón have won the under-20 men's team title back in 2018 and 2019. Last year it went to, quite surprisingly, the Irish club Ennis. Ennis have lost their 2 scorers from last year, who graduated into the under 23 ranks, the next age group. There's the Luxembourg team. Run across. Once again, Sporting Club de Portugal, Playas de Castellón. There's Ruben Leonardo. He was 3rd last year, and they've also got the very good Ronaldo Olivo in there as well. Very strong outfit on paper. Well, the under-20 women's race went quite a way to form. Let's see if it goes the same way. Ennis track, well, Niall Murphy. He's the leading returnee for the Irish club in red. Murphy finished 11th last year. They've lost the Casey twins. They've graduated to an older age group. But Murphy could well be one of the men in contention. And then Fenerbahce. Already a familiar yellow and black attire. Ozcan probably their leading runner. The outside. Great team of Lamias. They might well not be in contention. Very long countdown. Just making sure everyone's behind the line. It's a bit of a rarity, but I have seen the odd false start in cross-country races. I'm not entirely sure that there wasn't somebody jumping the gun there in the middle. Oh, and there's fallers. Oh dear. It looks like some of the Playas de Castellón team got trampled there. I don't think we're going to see a replay of that at this stage in the race. Maybe later, after the race is over, we can have a look at what happened there. But it looks like several runners, and it looks like the men in green from the host club might have gone down. 2 of them did survive, though. So Amory and Leonardo managed to emerge unscathed. They're up there, so too is Murphy. Ennis at the moment have got 3 men in that leading pack, and that's Murphy leading the way. So early stage of the race, just like with the women's race, it's a quick start. It's not taking them too long to end up in almost single file in just one long echelon. Well, Murphy is really starting to impose his authority on this race very, very quickly. He isn't hanging around at all. Now they've just eased back a little bit. And Amory and Leonardo of Playas de Castellón are up there. So too is one of the Menorcan runners. Yes, just looking at my start list, the man in 3rd at the moment in the lime green vest, Damas Yeko. Well, Menorca caused a little bit of a surprise by qualifying for this competition, but it looks as though they've got men to actually sustain a challenge. Fenerbahce, well, not really showing terribly well at the moment. They've got 1 man up there in that leading group. There's Amory and Leonardo running side by side in 4th and 5th place at the moment. But it's Murphy pushing hard. He's looking very comfortable. Okay, it's only about 800 meters into this race. You can see there a couple of the leading athletes having a little bit of difficulty negotiating that tight turn. You need to get your sight lines right. And now you're back onto the sand again. Runners as well, if they're not used to running on sand, it just sucks the energy right out of you. But it's Yeko at the moment looking very good indeed as well on the shoulder of Murphy. Leonardo up there. Leonardo, of course, third in last year's race. As they work their way around the paths that now have been shoehorned into comprising this cross-country course at Oropesa del Mar, alongside the beach. This is a traditional Southern European course, dry, quick, parkland style course in comparison to the Northern European courses, which would be more fields and mud. Yeko just glancing over his left shoulder, not quite sure what he's thinking or looking at Murphy for. Well, Yeko was 6th in the World Under-20 Championships. Actually represented Uganda there back in 2021. He's the World University Games cross-country champion from last year. This is his first race of the year though. Had some success before the new year in the cross-country races, that some of the famed Spanish cross-country races in Soria and Atapuerca. Now Yeko starting to pull away. It just looks so fluid, does this young Ugandan representing Menorca. He's just edging away. Now Murphy and Leonardo, well, as they went through the lap, they're all together. Saying that the second Playas de Castellón athlete was Amri, but it's Olivo. Looks like Amri might have been one of those who fell to the floor in that hectic start. It's Playas de Castellón in the lead at the moment, with Fenerbahce second in the team competition. Ennis, last year's champions, a little bit further back in third. So Leonardo, Yeko and Murphy are the three men in front. Olivo a little bit further back. Murphy just looks very uncomfortable every time he hits the sand. I don't think it's something he's practiced. He's a fine runner without a doubt, but that might have been taking him out of his comfort zone. Yeko keeps glancing around. All three men at the front at the moment looking very comfortable. There's a breakdown of the team competition to the left-hand side of your screen. In fact, it's Nina from Northern Ireland, who are actually in third place. It's a real battle between them and Ennis. So still Dismas Yeko, the young Ugandan, racing for the Menorca club in the lead. Ruben Leonardo looking good as well at the moment in second place. Niall Murphy, 11th last year. Still up there in contention. Fenerbahce not showing right up the front, but certainly packing well a bit further down. Well, the pace has eased off a little bit. Has allowed a couple of the other men to get up there. Hear the shouting of the various family, friends, team managers, teammates, urging these runners on as Jacko surges again. The only man to follow him is Niall Murphy. Well, he's just easing his way around this course, Jacko. Looks as though he's just biding his time. He's controlling this race from the front, as he's done from about 500 meters into the race. Back onto the parkland again. And once again, he's put in a little surge that strung out the leading 6 men. But just look behind them. In places 7, 8 and 9, it's the yellow and black vests of Fenerbahce. So Fenerbahce at the moment look as though they might well have edged into the lead as far as the team competition is concerned with that packing. Jacko having no problems with those barriers, nor should it be said Murphy either. Now Leonardo takes chase. Jacko surging once again. Now he's starting to open up a bit of a gap as he's embarking on the last lap. So 1,900 meters to go. In contrast to the leading women, he'll be very comfortable racing at these sort of distances. He's raced in quite a lot of senior competitions over 10 kilometers. Vivian Deline. Haven't really talked much about Deline. Deline up there as well, doing a very good job for the Dijon club. Fenerbahce indeed have taken the lead in the team competition, overtaking Pliers de Castillon. it's now Delin taking second place. He's been followed by the Italian Benzone. But Yeko now starting to stride away. He's looking as confident as Miriam Benkart did in the under-20 women's race. And he's just looking so comfortable as he puts ever-increasing amounts of daylight between himself and the chasers. I've just been counting, and I make that about a 12-second gap now that he's opened up. So something in the region of about 70 meters in the space of a very, very short period of time. He just went gently through the gears and pulled away. Yes, it looks as though, barring accidents, he's well on his way to taking the European Champion Clubs Cup cross-country under-20 men's title. Well, Menorca, his teammates are a long, long way back, but it's looking as though Dismas Yeko is going to be standing on top of the podium as far as individual honours are concerned. So just a couple more minutes of running to go. Just under a kilometre. Well, behind him, it's a real battle for the medals. Two Fenerbahce runners have got up there. Olivo and Leonardo of Players de Castillon look as though they're starting to struggle. Delin of Dijon's up there battling, as he's done for a lot of the race. There's no doubt at all that this young man's on his way to victory in Oropesa del Mar. I think he's just eased off a bit, having done all the hard work. The gap's closing a little bit, but I think it's too much for the rest of the field to make up. And I still think there's plenty in reserve for Dismas Yeko if he needed to. He's just running so comfortably at this stage, negotiating these three rather short steeplechase type barriers for the third and last time. So the Italian Benzone now in second place, Delin in third. But it's Dismas Yeko. There's no doubt at all about who's on his way to victory, and he's now just sped up just a little bit with the finish in sight. It's a long shot, you can see. He's just got about 50, 60 meters to go. And it's going to be Dismas Yeko of the Menorca club that takes the honours in the men's under-20 race. Let's just wait for confirmation of who got second and third, because that looks like a very tight finish indeed. Dismas Yeko, well, he didn't need to work any harder. He eased up over the final kilometre or so, let the rest of the field close on him, but he had plenty in reserve, and in the end, quite worthy winner. It was Vivian Delin of Dijon who got up there, and Ronaldo Olivo, well, he must have dug deep, because he looked as though he was struggling with about 500 meters to go, but came through. Benzone, the Italian, taking fourth, just being edged out. Ruben Leonardo, third last year, has to settle for sixth on this occasion. But then we've got a whole host of Fenerbahce runners coming in, and I'm sure that they're going to take the team title. Yes, it's confirmed at the bottom of your screen. The Turks Fenerbahce take the team title once again with just 21 points. Playas de Castellón, 29 points, and Dijon, third with 35 points. So Fenerbahce recover the under-20 team title that they lost one in 2011. Well, they had a spell when they won it 3 years in succession from 2009 through to 2011, and now they're back on top of the podium once again. Playas de Castellón, well, they were winners back in 2017 and 2018, having to settle for second place this time. But a good performance nevertheless from the host club. And they've still got gold medal hopes coming up in the senior women's race, and as well the mixed relay, where they'll be defending those titles, and also the senior men's race. Dijon, good performance from the French club. They got up there and just edged out Sporting. See the rest of the runners, some very tired runners coming home. It'll be very interesting to see what Dismas Yeko does. Just wondering whether he's going to be off to the World Cross Country Championships, which are in Bathurst, coming up very shortly in a few weeks' time. The European runners like Deline, Olivio, and all the rest of the top 10. As I mentioned on a couple of occasions already, they've got the European Under-20 Championships in Jerusalem to look forward to. See a nice behind-the-scenes shot of the organisation. You can see how it all works. There's the team tents. Just making sure everything works well on site.
So we're here with the winner of the under-20 men's race, Dismas Yeko. Dismas, congratulations. How did you like running in the beach, running in Castelló today here and winning?
I like running in the beach because it is clean enough to compete. Very soft grass and clean.
That was a very good race. Did you find yourself comfortable running? Did you think you could win before starting the race?
Yes, I had that plan to win the race because I had prepared enough to win. Yes.
So these are the words of the winner of this under-20 men's race. Estas han sido las palabras del ganador de la prueba sub-20, Dismas Yeko. Segunda victoria individual para un equipo español y segunda plaza por equipos para el Playas de Castellón.
Nevertheless, I think you already know that Fenerbahce took the title with 21 points. Playas de Castellón, the host club, 8 points further back in the silver medal position, 29 points, and Dijon with 35 points. That's the 1, 2, 3 in the team standings. Sporting Club de Portugal just a bit further back as well, as all the finishing clubs. Last year's winners down in 5th place on this occasion. Well, I said at the start of that race, it looked like Pliers de Castellon athletes were the ones that went down in that opening rush to try and get onto the circuit. It was probably, in retrospect, obviously both Spanish clubs wearing different shades of green. I think it was a couple of Menorca athletes who went down. And also, I think a big shout out as well for the second place finisher, Vivian Deline. We didn't really speak much about him during the course of the race. Came in very much as a unknown quantity, but ran a very astute race indeed. Excellent race indeed from the Frenchman who finished second, representing the Dijon club. And I'm sure we'll see more of him, of course, during the course of the next few years. A wonderful career ahead of him, I have no doubt at all. So, with the two under-20 races behind us, we have about 10 minutes before the senior women's race gets underway. That's going to be over 8,720 metres. So 3 long laps and a couple of short laps of 1,450 metres tacked on. And there you can see the weather is slowly rising. The sun's getting higher in the sky. It's up to 12 degrees. That's not going to bother the athletes though, bearing in mind that it's likely to be a lot hotter than that a bit later on in the day when this event is all over. It's perfect conditions. Just a slight breeze as well. I think everybody's enjoying their day out at the seaside. Well, maybe not a couple of the black markers who might have had a tough time on those courses, but by and large, I think everybody is really enjoying this superbly organised European Champions Clubs Cup cross-country event in Oropesa del Mar. Plenty of hardcore athletics aficionados here, also getting the interest of the general public, those with maybe just a passing interest in athletics. Spain, of course, one of the big guns of European athletics and a huge interest in the sport, particularly in distance running. Cross-country events have been going on for more than a century. Really, it's the place where many of the world's top cross-country runners come. Fantastic events over the course of the winter in places like Soria, Atapuerca, Venta del Baños, and the Madrid suburb of Alcobendas. All World Athletics Cross-Country Tour gold meetings. Outstanding circuit, and it really does help develop athletes across the range of disciplines, right the way from 800 meters running up to the marathon. Spain, one of the big guns of European cross-country running, usually comes away from the European cross-country championships with a few medals. Just a reminder of other live streams coming up on the European Athletics YouTube channel in the near future. We, of course, have right the way through this winter no less than 10, and events being added almost every week, World Athletics Indoor Tour silver and bronze meetings coming up. And the next one will be in a week's time, Saturday the 11th, when we're actually broadcasting from the Mondeville meeting in France. And then after that, the famed high jump specialist meeting in Slovak Republic in Banska Bystrica. The Banska Bystrica Latka is on Valentine's Day, 14th February. And we go all the way through the next 4 weeks until we get to the European Athletics Indoor Championships, which will be from the 2nd to the 5th of March. Myself, Phil Minshall, and Hannah England will be broadcasting live from Istanbul. Later in the year, we've got the European 10,000 metres Cup once again coming to you from Passy in France, and the European Under-23 Championships in Espoo, Finland, as well as the European Under-20 Championships in Jerusalem. Those events coming up in July and August. But right now, we're back at Oropesa del Mar as the senior women warm-up. kilometers. Well, senior women, 85 athletes in this race, 22 clubs from 13 different countries. Last year in Oropesa in Portugal, it was the host club Playas de Castellón who took the honours, and they're going to be very much in contention once again, I think. Just looking at the team lineup for Playas de Castellón. Well, they have last year's winner Lakina Ambor running for them. Cristina Espejo. She was 8th last year, she's back again, and this time they have the addition of a very good Spanish international, Naima Alibul. There's a list of all the teams. 3 Spanish teams in this competition, with the very good Adidas team as well, and also Bilbao team. Bilbao was 3rd 12 months ago as well. 4. I overlooked the Valencia team. I do owe apologies to them. Sporting Club de Portugal, former champions, won in 2018 and 2019. 4th last year, so they're going to be keen to get back on the podium. Sporting Club de Braga as well. No less than 7 titles in a fantastic run between 1987 and 1993. So Sporting Club de Braga as well have a fantastic history in this event. Unfortunately missing any Turkish representation. I have to be honest and say I don't know why Turkey haven't sent their club champions to this event. No Turkish team in the senior men's race either, just Fenerbahce sending under 20 teams. But no matter, let's concentrate on who is here. I often think trying to organise a cross-country start is a bit like herding cats. Everybody wants to do their own thing. Everybody's going in different directions. Everybody just waiting for the gun. Well, by now you'll be very aware of some of the club colours. Different clubs being represented in different races. So Ruslan from Belgium, Berlin from Germany. DCH, former winners themselves back in the 80s. Dublin City Harriers, blue vests. There's Playas de Castellón with Amabor at the front, behind her Cristina Espejo. Amabor from Ethiopia. There's Fancy Chirono. She finished 2nd last year, 14 seconds adrift of Amabor. Sporting will be hoping she can close the gap. Strong team as well with Ribeiro and Rocha, also seasoned Portuguese internationals. Adidas, another of the Spanish teams. At the front there, Marta Galimani. Very good marathon runner, Galimani. As we quickly fly past some of the other teams. we going to get that big countdown on the screen? Yes, we are. 20 seconds and counting. I rather like that, I must confess. That's a nice little innovation. Can't recall seeing it. I'm sure it must have been used before. And the gun goes.
Y arranca una carrera con una fortísima presencia de equipos españoles, las vigentes campeonas, las atletas locales del Medallas de Castellón.
Alamabor tucked in just to the right-hand side of your screen. Last year's winner. Got many of the women back from last year. On the Adidas runners. That's Sanchez Escobaño at the front as well. Fancy Chirono's up there as well in the green and white hooped vest. Familiar not only in athletics but with football, with Sporting Lisbon. Once again, a very quick start, just to try and find a good place, because this is a narrow course, so it's without a doubt quite a narrow course for this level of competition. It hasn't caused too many problems so far. I think the fallers at the start of the under-20 race, different reason. So there we have it, you can see Alamabor on the far right-hand side of your screen. A lot of women trying to negotiate that very tight turn. So just a reminder, 85 athletes on the start line. So already up there at the front is Alamabor, who plies to Castellón. Chirono, her challenger, her nearest challenger 12 months ago in Hueras, on her shoulder. There you can see Alamabor. And Chirono. So Ethiopia and Kenya, albeit running for European clubs. So, about a kilometre undertaken. Well, this early pace, it was quite bunched for the first 600 metres or so, but now already starting to string them out. Alamabor once again up the front. Well, 12 months ago, Amabor only started to really impose their authority on the race in the final 3 kilometers. Shorter race last year, 6.4 kilometers. Should have said 2 kilometers last year's race. Sanchez Escribano up there. Diminutive figure of Angelina Lohauth as well, with the Israeli club Tel Aviv. Cristina Espejo also up there at the moment, out on the far right-hand side of that group as they run away from us. So at the moment there's 2 Sporting Club women up in the top half a dozen. Sporting Club at the moment possibly in the lead. There we can see Fancy Chirono, Irene Sanchez Escribano leading the way at this stage. It's Amabor now edging away to the front, starting to work really hard. Players de Castillon also got a good group up there at the moment. It looks as though Players de Castillon have got 3 of their women in the top dozen. Amabor just drifting back just a little bit at the moment. It's Fancy Chirono pushing hard, making the pace as the leaders chops and change just a little bit. So the leading group already spread out as they come up to tackle these barriers for the first time. Fancy Chirono, the African under-20 steeplechase champion back in 2019. Actually won this race back in 2019 as well. She was also bronze medalist at the Youth Olympic Games in 2018 when they had the cross-country as part of the summer competition. Just really coming back into very, very top-class running once again. far as the team competition's concerned, well, Amabor's up there. Looks like Cristina Espejo and Aitamu as well. So Players de Castellón at the moment have 3 women in the top 10. There we go. Aitalabu bringing up the rear with the top 10. Lohalith, though, running for the Israeli club. So we've whittled it down to a group of 7 at the front, and now quite a considerable gap going back. As they navigate that tricky beach section. It is Players de Castellón in the lead at the moment from Sporting Club Braga, Sporting Club Portugal. Both, so 3 former winners of this, previous winners of this title, up there, battling once again to be on top of the podium. See the tall figure of Sanchez Escribano towering above most of the other runners in that leading group. Escribano, 3rd place at the moment. It's still Fancy Chirono pushing the pace at the front, and she's really trying to draw out the sting of the rest of the athletes. Lohalith, well, she's a South Sudanese athlete competing for the Israeli club Ale of Tel Aviv. Better known as a 1500-meter runner, Lohalith. She went to World Championships last year in Eugene. Didn't get out to the heats on that occasion. 10th in the African Championships as well. South Sudanese record holder at 4:23, but that's a pretty modest mark, but she's really running well here. Maybe her future does lie a little bit in longer distances. This may cause her to think again. Sanchez Escribano in 3rd at the moment. Also up there from Sporting Club Braga is Berge, another Ethiopian runner. Shot as we look at some of the other athletes from these 22 clubs. It's back to the sharp end of the race now. Still 7 women bunched together, with Fancy Chirono doing a lot of the work. Now it's Lohalith at the front, though, the very tall South Sudanese athlete. Amabor just not looking quite as comfortable as she has done in recent races. Last year's winner tacked on the back, wearing the green vest of Playas de Castellón. Behu starting to challenge now in the red vest of Sporting Club Braga. So it's Lower Lith, Chirono, Berhe. Three African athletes representing European clubs up at the front. Lilith now. Well, I think nobody had reckoned that she would come into contention, but this is a very, very good from Lilith. Hear the encouragement, but Lower Lith, nominally a 1500-meter runner, being trapped by Berhe. Chirono now starting to look as though she's struggling a little bit after this, as they come into this short lap. As the Castellón, though, still comfortably in front. Two Portuguese clubs still in contention. It's turning into a battle between the two Iberian rivals, Spain and Portugal, as far as the club competition is concerned. It's still Lower Lith up front. Angelina Nadai Lower Lith from South Sudan. I tell you, I don't think anybody was expecting to see her at the front. Who trying to stay with her, but it's Lower Lith who's now starting to pull away. This is quite a surprising run from this South Sudanese athlete. She's 28 years of age. Has got no credentials beyond 1500 meters. This is her first race of the year. So this is a very, very surprising run from this South Sudanese athlete running for the Israeli club Alei Tel Aviv. She's now really starting to pull away and looking very, very comfortable, it has to be said, at this stage. Well, this is, quite frankly, the greatest race of her life. It's caught us all surprise, and I think probably caught many of her rivals by surprise as well. So going back onto this beach segment. Well, plenty of beaches in Tel Aviv to practice on. Berhu now just trying to hang on to second place. So Lower Lith, this tall, rangy South Sudanese athlete, holds a number of national records for South Sudan. Well, Alei Club Tel Aviv have unearthed at 20 years of age a real late developing talent here. About 5 seconds gap between her and Mezulu Berhe of Ethiopia. Berhe has got some good credentials to her name. Now Fancy Chirono coming back into the fray, having gone through a bit of a bad patch in the middle of the race, but she's now back in second place again, the 2019 winner from Sporting Club Portugal. I'm just wondering whether she's going to start to chase Lurlith, but time is running out for those chasers if they're going to make an impact on Lurlith, and Lurlith doesn't look as though she's starting to tire or struggle. So it's Chirono, Berhe and Sanchez Escribano behind her. Then Espejo. Amabor struggling a little bit. Still Lorelei striding away now and putting ever increasing amount of distance between herself and the chasing trio. And she doesn't look comfortable going over those barriers, stuttering, trying to find a line. It's not elegant, but it is effective, and she gets over. This is a downhill stretch on the sand. This can sometimes be as tricky as the uphill sections if you don't know how to negotiate it. See to the left-hand side, one of the other athletes down the field has called it a day. There's no stopping Angelina Dadai, Lurlith. Oh, Lurlith's just looking absolutely outstanding. 1500 meter runner nominally. I'm sure she has done some distance work in the past. She hasn't run any distances in beyond about 3000 meters. This is a real huge surprise. And where did this woman come from? I think people are going to be asking. So it's Lurlith. So about 50-meter gap, perhaps about 40 meters back to Berhe, Chirono and Sanchez Escribano. Marina Machado's come up very well into 5th place for Sporting Club Braga. Amabor, last year's winner, a bit further back, as we can see running down those results, and then a long way back to the rest of the field. Spanish international Isabel Barrero coming through. So it's Lurlith still, though, with about a 50-meter advantage on Mezalu Berhe, former world under-20 3,000-meter silver medalist back in 2018. Chirono in front of her now. Chirono's just nipped in front of her. Sanchez Escribano starting to drift back just a little bit, but it's a long, long way to the woman up front, Angelina Nadai Lurlith. Well, if she's been running 1500 meters, she's been running the wrong event, because this is a woman who clearly has outstanding talent over 5000 meters and further up. We've seen one or two South Sudanese athletes emerge over the course of the last couple of years. Here's the latest. Of course, the civil upheaval in their country has meant that athletics really has been disrupted there, and they're often based elsewhere. Very close as we come into the final lap for the team competition between the two Portuguese clubs, Sporting and Braga, and Playas de Castellón, and Adidas not out of it yet. We're coming into one of the last few turns on this course, over 8.7 kilometers. And Angelina Nadai Lurlith still flying around this circuit, absolutely doing a fantastic job. Slightly ragged running action, arms flapping slightly across her torso, Sanchez Escribano's now moved away. Fancy Chirono in third now. Sanchez Escribano, that's a really good move over the last 400-500 meters to actually get in front and start putting some daylight between herself, Chirono and Berhe. Well, Escribano, rather modest, 15th at the last European Cross-Country Championships in Torino back in December. Having a good run here, but a long way, it has to be said, behind this woman. Racing for Alley Club of South Tel Aviv. And she just seems to be getting better and better as the distance progresses. There's no stopping her. Well, just one of the last few turns. Now on the home straight in effect. I think she's as good as clinched the gold medal. And a superb run it is. Well, Loelith has beaten a very, very good field indeed. She's even starting to lap some of the back markers. That just shows what a terrific run it is. She's made up 2 kilometers, or the best part of, on those women she's now starting to overtake. You can just see coming into shot, Sanchez Escribano starting to close the gap just a little bit. Escribano having something in reserve. But now as the finish is in sight, just a couple more twists and turns for Angelina Dadai Loelith. Going over the barriers for the very last time. And going up this sandy ramp once more. And the old cliche of being almost able to taste victory must now be present. Really working hard now. You have to feel for the back markers as well, just seeing her as we come into the final 40 meters, and it's going to be Angelina Nadai Loelith takes the gold medal, takes the European club's title for the Alley Club of South Tel Aviv. Irene Sanchez Escribano comes in for a very good second place. Fancy Chirono of Sporting Club, followed home by Mariana Machado, who had a good run over the latter part of the race. Sporting Braga and Meselu Berhe makes it 2 in the top 5 for Sporting Braga. Last year's winner, Lakina Amabor, 6th. The rest of the runners come home. More Spaniards, Isabel Barrero, Agueda Marquez. Spain represented by 4 clubs. Well, 2 Players Castellón runners have come through, and I've yet to see a third Braga runner. Is that going to be enough? Ali Talibu and Cristina Espejo coming through in 9th and 10th. So Players Castellón have got a scoring trio of 25 points. It looks as though they're just going to edge out Adidas. Just trying to work out now. We're looking at the Portuguese clubs, Braga and Sporting, coming through in 3rd and 4th place. Marta Galamani, Spanish marathon record holder, set. Nuria Lagueros coming through, former Spanish national cross-country champion. Down in 20th place on this occasion. Not in the best of form at the moment. Alice Gaggi, former world mountain running champion, I should say, in 28th. She was the world marathon running champion back in 2013, Gaggi. So still more than 50 runners out on the course somewhere. It's a tough day at the office for some of these women. So just to recap, yes indeed it was. Getting confirmation of the results through. It was Playa de Castellón who retained their team title in this competition. Castellón with their scoring quartet of Bikina Amabor, Naima Alt-Alibu and Cristina Espejo finishing 6th, 9th and 10th. 25 points, just beat out their compatriots and rivals Adidas. Sanchez Escribano 2nd, Marquez 8th, and Galamani 15th. With Sporting Club Braga 3rd with 27 points. Machado and Berge, but they had to wait until Leah Lemos came through in 18th place to make sure that they'd got a place on the podium. So really tight at the top end, but Castellón take the gold medals once again with 3 women in the top 10. Sporting Club de Portugal, former winners, just out of the medals on this occasion, as are Bilbao, who were 3rd last year. What a magnificent sight. Well, for my money, there can't be too many better places to stage a cross-country event. Sun glistening off the Mediterranean, palm trees in the foreground. Perhaps doesn't feel like cross-country to many Northern Europeans, but I don't think there'll be too many complaints. Over the years, we've been to some wonderful venues by the sea as well for the European cross-country championships. 2015, we were on the Mediterranean, on the southern French coastal town of Hyères. Still, we remember with great fondness when we were in Sardinia the following year in 2016 in Kia.
Bueno, pues estamos aquí con la ganadora de esta carrera senior femenina, Angeline Lohalic, que representa a uno de los equipos israelíes, al equipo de South Tel Aviv. Y ahora lo vamos a decir en inglés. We're here with Angeline Lohalic, individual winner of the senior women race. Angeline, how did you see the race? Did you like the course, running in the beach and then running again in the grass?
Okay, first of all, I didn't to see the course was hard because it was my first time to use this kind of a course, and I didn't know whether it will be bad or good. But I said, let me get in the field, then I will feel how is it going to be.
Last year you were in the World Championships running the 1500 meters, and now you win this European Cup of cross country. Are you in a very good shape this year for athletics?
Yeah, I remember last year it was so hard for me to even get to the semi-final in 1500 meters in World Championship. But the moment I went home, I was promising myself that I'm going to train hard, and really because I have always dreamed to be a winner.
Okay, Angeline, thank you very much and congratulations for your victory here today in Castelló. Estas son las palabras de la ganadora de la prueba individual de Angeline Lohalic, una atleta que compite por el equipo israelí de South Tel Aviv, una atleta sudanesa refugiada que vive en Kenia, que tuvo que abandonar su país durante la guerra civil y que hoy viene aquí a triunfar, pero que tiene un currículum internacional bastante importante. Bueno, y ahora tenemos aquí a las grandes triunfadoras de la mañana. Ganaron el año pasado en Portugal y acaban de revalidar el título, pero esta vez jugando en casa. Son las chicas del Playas de Castellón. Tengo aquí más cerquita a Cristina Espejo. Cristina, habéis ganado creo que por un punto. Te he visto sprintar, meter mucho la cabeza en esa última recta. Había que esforzarse hasta el último metro, ¿verdad?
Sí, porque ya nos habían dicho que estaba ahí un poco justo y me he guardado fuerzas porque he dicho, seguro, o sea, la escuchaba respirar, digo, viene fuerte, que se note que vengo del Milky, y he dicho, venga, con todo y a rascar esos puntitos porque, jope, eso de revalidar título y corriendo en casa y con toda la familia, amigos y todo el mundo que nos ha apoyado, es que es un lujo. Sí que había que hacerlo.
Bueno, son las componentes del equipo que el año pasado también ganó en Portugal. Tenemos aquí a Naima Ait Aribú, que fue la mejor española en la última San Silvestre vallecana. ¿Cómo de especial ha sido ganar aquí, ganar en casa y ganar, en fin, delante de los nuestros?
Pues es verdaderamente un placer, me estoy estrenando con el verde y con mis compañeras, y lo que dice Cristina, competir aquí en casa, en Castellón, y estaba claro que el objetivo podíamos conseguirlo y haberlo hecho pues es un orgullo.
Ha sido un carrerón, la verdad es que el público se ha vuelto completamente loco con esta victoria de las chicas del Playas de Castellón, que le dan la primera victoria por equipo, revalidan el oro que consiguieron el año pasado. Muchas gracias.
Confirmation of the results. Players de Castellón, the home club, the host club, defending their title by just 1 point from Adidas, the other Spanish club. One of 4 Spanish clubs in this competition, with Sporting Braga finishing 3rd. Just coming home ahead of Sporting Club de Portugal. And then Bilbao 5th and Valencia 6th. So that senior women's team competition dominated by clubs from Spain and Portugal. So now we have some of the victory ceremonies, and we start with the women's under-20 competition. So for the 2nd year in succession, the bronze medal goes to Margot Dagier. the Clermont Auvergne Athletisme Club.
Second position and silver medal for Edir Illagis.
Second for the Fenerbahce Club, decked out in the black and yellow, familiar colours of that club. Adiba Yagis. But for the host club, Players de Castellón, is Miriam Benkart, and a magnificent run it was, pulling away from her rivals over that last lap. Well, the focus of attention really is on team competitions, but quite rightly on honouring individual triumph as well.
Listen to the Spanish national anthem.
So here we have the Spanish national anthem.
Also the three athletes, the first three individual athletes of the under-20 women's race.
Well, you're going to be hearing the Spanish national anthem on at least one more occasion during the course of this afternoon. But quite rightly honouring Miriam Benkart, who took the under-20 women's title in magnificent fashion. Now it's the turn of the under-20 women's team presentation.
Femenina. Entregan Josep Miquel Moya, director general de deportes de la Generalitat Valenciana, y Raúl Chapado, presidente de la Real Federación Española de Atletismo y miembro del Consejo de World Athletics.
So in third place, Clermont Auvergne Athletisme.
Third position for the French team, Clermont Auvergne.
Margot Dagier still with her bronze medal from a few moments ago. Quite a lot of those. Bearing in mind that she was third last year in the individual race, and Auvergne was second in the team competition 12 months ago. Going to be needing a bigger medal case, or cupboard as the case may be. So Margot Dagier in third, Fanny Sapet 8th, Justine Chazal 15th, and Daphne Dornick 18th. The four women there from the Auvergne Club. Just wonder whether Auvergne will be back next year. We haven't got a location decided just yet for next year. Be very happy if it came back to Oropesa del Mar. Fenerbahce take the bronze medal, should say the silver medals, with Adiba Yagiz second, Seden Kilic 10th, Atis Kilic 12th, and Busamaida 29th. But on top of the podium, once again, they only sent 3 women, but that's all they needed to do. It's Mica Roma from Romania. Well, they won 12 months ago in Hueras with just 20 points, and they managed to reduce that down to 15 points on this occasion. Slightly different order home from 12 months ago, but we had Michaela Maria Blaga in 4th, Alexandra Maria Huder in 5th, and Julia Florina Marguian in 6th place. Followed each other home. It is Mica Roma who take the team title once again as we listen to the Romanian national anthem.
And a big applause for the under-20 teams. The women's race.
No va a ser mi carrera entera en hits. Tengo hits porque yo senté la base. Ya no tengo nada más que decir. Para decirlo hace falta muchas clases.
And the next medal ceremony, the individual under-20 men.
Nos vamos con la ceremonia de entrega de medallas individuales en categoría sub-20 masculina. Entrega Josep Miquel Moya, director general de deportes de la Generalitat Valenciana, y Jordi Llopis, concejal de deportes de Oropesa del Mar. Tercero y medalla de bronce.
Third place for Stefano Benzoni.
Segundo y medalla de plata.
Second place for Vivian Delon.
position, Dismas Yeko. And now, everyone, please listen to the Spanish national anthem. Those are the three first athletes in the men's under 20 race. The next minutes will be giving away the medals for the team race. And another medal ceremony before the men's senior race. It's the team men's under 20.
Y nos vamos con la ceremonia de entrega de medallas por equipos en categoría sub-20 masculina. Entregan Manuel Monzó, subdelegado de defensa de Castellón, y Jordi Llopis, concejal de deportes de Oropesa del Mar. Terceros y medalla de bronce.
The third place goes to Dijon Université Club d'Athlétisme.
So there's the four Frenchmen getting the bronze medal. Vivian Delon, second place, already with one medal around his neck. Marius Chouin, 14th. Gabin Tisserand, 19th. And Nathan Poulet in 35th place. Four men from Fenerbahce still to come. Silver medalists. Club Pliers de Castillon, the host team. Olivo, 4th. Leonardo, 5th. Sanchez, 21st. And El Amri, 43rd. A little bit disappointing, I think, for Ruben Leonardo. He showed up there very strongly in the early stage of the race. He was third last year. I think he might have been expecting to get back on the podium again. Leonardo on the far right-hand side of your screen. Instead, the team was led by Olivo.
And the
But they
victory
do
goes to
take
Turkey.
the silver medals. Well, the under-20 women team from Fenerbahce took the silver medals, but these young men take the gold. Kenneth Duncan, 5th. Furkan Mutlu, 7th. Kuma Ozkan, 8th. And just completing the lineup, Amit Sivsi, 24th. So 3 men in the top 8 means they run out convincing winners by 9 points over Club Playas de Castellón. And we'll hear the Turkish national anthem.
So a big round of applause for the 3 teams in this under 20 men's race.
Well, Fenerbahce, one of those outstanding clubs which always feature in the European Champion Clubs Cup events, both on the track and across country. In the past, Turkish clubs have had great success as well in the senior races, but no Turkish clubs in the senior races this time around. Just a little bit disappointing. Those are the 22 clubs that are here, including some very, very good teams indeed. Playas de Castellón, of course, we've already seen them on the podium several times, including winning the senior, I should say the under-20 women's individual race. Sporting Club Portugal, multiple winners. So 26 clubs, 101 athletes, the biggest race of the day in terms of numbers, 16 countries represented. There's the Benfica club in red, Keep Up from Sweden. Sporting Club de Portugal, many times winners of this competition. There's Oscar Chelimo, second in last year's race in Huaraz. He runs for Casone Noseta. Went on to win the bronze medal over 5,000 metres at the World Championships in Eugene last summer. There's Vincent Rono at the front, 5th in last year's race. Kenyan, very good runner indeed. And Ru Pinto as well, just behind him, strong runner. And there's Rodrigo Quizera, last year's winner, has been in outstanding form this year. Won in San Giorgio de Legnano, that famous Italian race in early January. Also several very good victories in Spanish races just before the new year. So we're away. And it's already Quizera straight to the front, the Burundian who's based in Spain. Chelimo in the white vest of Casone Noceto, also up there at this early stage of the race. Well, this is a flying start to this race. They're really hammering it straight from the gun. It's 8.7 kilometers. Well, Quizera last year won over 10 kilometers. So slightly shorter race this year. It's just starting to settle down a little bit. There's Quizera already featuring at the front. Vincent Rono there in the green and white hoops. Ruben Longasiwa for the Benfica club in the red vest of Benfica. Like many of the clubs in Southern Europe, they're multi-sport clubs. So clubs of the colours of Sporting and Benfica, familiar as football strips. Just getting into the running at this stage. This is a very quick pace in these early stages of the race. You can see some of the athletes skidding around that slight incline, having problems negotiating that sandy turn. Well, that's an audacious start. I'm not quite sure who that runner is at this stage. Starting to get a little bit hotter out there. Of course, just gone past midday local time. So it's 12:13 Central European time. This is a very, very courageous. I'm just wondering whether it's a foolhardy start. It's one of the Canica Serrano club, founded and coached by the famous Spanish long-distance runner Antonio Serrano. Well, now the rest of the team starting to close and bring him home. And now they're starting to close the gap after that ridiculously audacious start. Looking much more comfortable behind the leader is Quizera of Playas de Castellón in the green vest of the Spanish club. Also Ruben Longasiwa of Benfica. That super fast start has really taken its toll on some of the middle order men. There's Vincent Rono at the front, the Kenyan. Rono, twice running the World Cross Country Championships. Now 32 years of age. There's a sub 60-minute half marathon to his name. Some of his best years perhaps were back in 2017 when he ran in the World Cross Country Championships and ran that 59.57 half marathon best, 59.27 I should say, which was a world-class time. Benfica runner Ruben Longisua. Just making their way around the course. Longisua deciding to go to the front. Somewhat ungainly running style compared to the much more fluent actions of Rono and Quizera. Chelimo darting around some of his teammates from the Italian club. Oh gosh, but quite a lot of pushing and shoving around those tight turns. Chelimo just glancing, possibly in a slightly irritated fashion. It's getting very, very boisterous out there. Quizera now got himself to the front. Dominated 12 months ago when he won in Hueras. Took the race by the scruff of the neck from the halfway point. So at the moment it's Quizera, Longisua, Chelimo now just steadied himself after that pushing and shoving around the bend. He's up in third place. Vincent Rono, fifth last year, tagged on to the back of the group. So that's the 1, 2, 3, 4, and those men are starting to move away from the rest of the field at this stage. Quizera now starting to get into his running. Well, Quizera won in San Giorgio Sulagnano back at the start of January when Chelimo was back in fourth. Comes into this race on a 3-race winning streak, having also won in Venta de Baños in December and Alcobendas at the end of November. Last defeat was at the famous Italica race in Sevilla in mid-November. Oh, now very clearly the men all starting to move away. It's the 4 Africans representing 4 different European clubs at the front. Quizera from Burundi. It's looking as though might be Pliers de Castillon who are in the lead at the moment, but this is just the first lap. Nothing much between Benfica and Sporting at the moment for the 2 Portuguese clubs in second and third. So Pliers de Castillon, 19 points to their name after the first lap. Well, there's been huge success for Spanish clubs in this competition, but Pliers de Castillon have never won the senior men's race. Had the Bikila team winning in 2019. Turn the clock back a bit further, we had Union Guadalajara in 2015. Tequila were on a 3-year winning streak between 2012 and 2014. The Adidas team, which isn't in this race, but you saw in the senior women's race, won on a number of occasions further back. So still Rodrigo Quizera, popular figure in the Players de Castellón team, very much the poster boy of this competition. He represents Burundi internationally, but is based in Spain. Speaks good Spanish. Went out into the local schools recently with many other members of the Players de Castellón team and was very warmly welcomed by school children. They recognise him as well, getting youngsters involved in the sport, which I think is a great initiative. And it's Quizera starting to move away from Longasiwa and Rono, representing the two Portuguese clubs. Oscar Chilimo at the moment just struggling just a little bit. Doesn't look too comfortable on the sand. The Ugandan running for Cesare Nosoto. So Quizera, 10-meter lead at the moment over Vincent Rono. Rono showing good form at this stage. Struggled a bit to recapture that great form that he had around 2017. Longasiwa hasn't got great times to his name, but a very solid runner. Good runner on the roads. It's over 10 kilometers. Hasn't run many cross-country events, but on this sort of surface, apart from the sand, could well come to the fore. It's a dry, fast circuit. Now Chilimo has moved up very steadily into second place. Chilimo reduced his best to 13 minutes and 42 hundredths in Brussels at the Diamond League last September. He's a man with great speed. Now he's got up on the shoulder of Quizera. Quizera doesn't have the same sort of track speed as Chilimo, but is a hugely experienced and a very tough cross-country runner. So it's 1 and 2 from last year, 1 and 2 at the moment in this race. Last year, Quizera put 21 seconds between himself and Chilimo by the time they reached the finish line. Just wondering whether the slightly shorter distance of this race will play into the hands of Chilimo. Last year the race was over exactly 10 kilometers. Out of curiosity, the temperature's almost exactly the same. I'm just looking at the results from 12 months ago. It was 14 degrees this time last year in Portugal, and it's 13 to 14 degrees here on the Mediterranean coast of Spain in Oropesa del Mar. So Quizera, Chilimo, Longasiwa. Vincent Rono for Sporting starting to drift back just a little bit. Players de Castellón. Well, need to have a look back and see where the other runners are, but they're showing 12 points at the moment. Players de Castellón in very good shape as far as the team competition is concerned. Head on to Heras in the top 10 as well, just I can see, just looking down the race. Aranda Heras, the 2018 under-20 men's winner at the European Champion Clubs Cup cross-country. You can see Heras just at the end of your shot. See that Chiqui Perez it was. I thought it was him, but I wasn't quite sure at a distance, who had that audacious start over the first 500-600 meters. Currently down in 10th place at the moment, so you have to assume that was a pretty deliberate tactic just to get himself clear. Give them something quick to think about. There's De Heras coming through, you can see. Also running well for Playas de Castillon in the top 10, Sergio Paniagua. Paniagua, Spanish international on the track as well. So Playas de Castillon, the home club, really taking this event very, very seriously, both in terms of their organisational skills and the teams that they're putting out. Quezera looks a lot more comfortable on that sand than his two counterparts. Rono, once again, not looking at all happy when he's having to take to the sand. Of course, the sand not being flattened or evened out during the gap between the races, but it's still Quezera pushing the pace at the front. This is a really, really impressive pace that he's putting together. This is one of the shorter races he'll have encountered during the course of this winter, 8.7 kilometers. But he's still being tracked by Ruben Longasiwa, the man who's made his name on the roads, and Oscar Chilimo. Really a man for all surfaces, but now known as a track runner after his exploits last year. But it's Playas de Castillon of Spain in front, Benfica of Portugal in second place, and Noceto of Italy in third. There's those three, like steeplechase barriers, more like park benches in some respects. Longasiwa doesn't have too many problems with the sand as well, but Chilimo a little bit more tentative perhaps. But still Quezera at the front. Quezera ran a personal best of 27.25 over 10,000 meters on the track last year. It's a 5,000 meter best of 13.20 again set last year, actually on a nearby track in Castillon. So his track times don't compare with Chilimo's, but he's without doubt got the better credentials at cross country. Quezera finished 11th at the last World Cross Country Championships when they were held in Aarhus in Denmark, representing Burundi. As with some of the senior women, I'm wondering whether he's going to be going to Bathurst for the World Cross Country Championships. That's a long trip down into the southern hemisphere, and it's going to be very hot conditions there. It's going to be run at the height of the Australian summer. I've known some cross-country commentators who've questioned that wisdom of holding it at that time of year, and also the long trip. I don't think the heat would bother Quezera that much. He's used to running in warm conditions. even into the 20s, and sometimes in Spanish races, even during the winter. Here, rather splendid 14 degrees. So Chelimo's edged himself past Longasiwa into second place now. Longasiwa just starting to look a little bit tired. So they've got about just over 2 kilometers to go, I think. It's now breaking down the same sort of pattern as last year. But last year Quizera was out on his own from the halfway point. This year Chelimo, another year older and another year stronger, is really tracking him very, very closely. There's the wrap up of the team competition. There's the Castillon, well in front at the moment. Sporting Club just in front of Benfica, with the two Portuguese clubs battling for silver and bronze on the team podium. Last year, Noceto squeezed onto the podium in third place, helped by Chelimo's second place. Looks as though they're out of contention this year at this stage. Still another lap to go. Now Quizera looks as though he's surging, just trying to drop Chelimo. This is where his experience comes into play. We've got a bit more than a kilometre to go. Chelimo is just starting to lose contact with Rodrigo Quizera. Now Ruben Longasiwa starting to drift back. And it's Quizera who really is starting to push now. For the very first time, Chelimo just looks a bit tired. And then a long way back in third place is Longasiwa. So that gap very quickly has become 20 meters between Rodrigo Quizera and Oscar Chelimo. So Pliers, the Castillon man, starting to move away. Rodrigo Quizera now really looking very, very comfortable. Not troubled at all by that challenging beach section. Straight out, straight on, straight back onto the grass. Is this the decisive move in the race? Well, I think he feels he's very, very confident indeed. He's coming up. It's very quick indeed, this race. Just remember, it's only just over 8 kilometers. And Rodrigo Quizera once again comes through. Rodrigo Quizera takes the individual honours at the European Champion Clubs Cup Cross Country. Oscar Chelimo, for the second year in succession, the silver medal. And coming through for third place, it's going to be Ruben Longasiwa for the Benfica club. So as far as passport holders are concerned, it's Burundi, Uganda and Kenya. As far as clubs are concerned, Spain, Italy and Portugal. And Vincent Rono from Sporting comes through for fourth. That's Las Heras. Aaron Las Heras comes through. And Paniagua, fifth and sixth for Pliers de Castillon. They're going to be confirmed very soon as the team champions. Ephraim Gidey. Well, Gidey has won under 23 honours at the European cross country. Gidey the Irishman. Roberto Elais, Spanish international steeplechaser, now concentrating more on the longer distances, coming through in 8th place for Canica Serrano. In 10th for Keep Up Running, was last year's 4th place man, Mohamed Abu Tarabi. Just look at those people. Alfieri competed on many occasions at the European cross country for Italy in the under 20 and under 23 ranks, down in 11th place. That just shows you the quality of this competition. But Quizera with that definitive burst from just over a kilometre, putting 8 seconds between himself and Oscar Chalimo. Ruben Longasi were drifting off the back a bit earlier. That's the 1-2-3. The Rodrigo Quizera, huge talent. I have a feeling he's going to really revise his 10,000 metre mark on the track as well this summer. But that's to come. Today, he is once again the individual champion at the European Champions Club Cup cross country. Here's some of the highlights of that race. So there's confirmation of the team standings, and it was Playas de Castellón confirmed as the winners. Sporting Club de Portugal, 30 points, and I said it didn't look like that Cassoni Noceto was going to get up onto the podium, but on the tie-break rules, once again they're in 3rd place, just edging out Sport Lisboa e Benfica, usually known by its slightly shorter name of just plain old Benfica. There's the rest of the teams. So I think we're going to hear a few words from the senior men's winner, Rodrigo Quizera. And
Bueno, pues estamos aquí con los chicos del equipo local, del equipo ganador. Bueno, pues estamos aquí con los chicos del equipo local, del equipo ganador. Primero tenemos a Rodrigo Cuisera, Primero tenemos a Rodrigo Cuisera. Has vuelto a ganar este año. ¿Cómo de especial ha sido ganar aquí delante de tu gente? Este año, ¿cómo de especial ha sido ganar aquí delante de tu gente?
Muy fuerte, sí, muy fuerte. Eso, sí. Está ahora buena equipo. Eso, está ahora buena equipo primero. Está a ganar para.
¿Te ha gustado el circuito, correr por la hierba, pero también correr por la playa? ¿Te ha gustado el circuito, correr por la hierba, pero también correr por la playa aquí en Oropesa de Mar?
Está muy bueno. Para yo,
ha sido una victoria absolutamente espectacular de Rodrigo, como hizo el año pasado. Ha sido una victoria absolutamente espectacular de Rodrigo, como hizo el año pasado. Tenemos aquí a Sergio Paniagua, a Portugal, a Sergio Jiménez, que son otros miembros del equipo, a Sergio Jiménez, que son otros miembros del equipo. Tenemos aquí a Sergio Paniagua. Sergio, ha sido una victoria. ¿Qué significa para vosotros ganar aquí la Copa de Europa? Sergio, ¿qué significa para vosotros ganar aquí la Copa de Europa en casa delante de vuestra gente?
Tanto para mí como para los demás, yo creo que tanto para mí como para los demás, yo por lo menos que el primer año que estoy en el equipo correr en casa en una Copa de Europa, gente y demás, yo creo que aquí correr en casa nosotros y toda nuestra gente y demás.
Tenemos también aquí a Aarón Laseras, que ha llegado también entre los. Tenemos también aquí a Aarón Laseras, que ha llegado también entre los. ¿Cómo te has visto entre algunos de los mejores del mundo? Porque tu compañero Rodrigo has visto entre algunos de los mejores del mundo, porque tu compañero Rodrigo es uno de los mejores corredores de cross del mundo y tú hoy has hecho un auténtico carrerón.
Es un privilegio estar aquí con ellos.
Sí, muchas gracias.
Los mejores del mundo.
Estar aquí con ellos.
Ya ganamos.
Bueno, yo gané cuando era sub-20 hace 3 o 4 años.
Bueno, yo gané cuando era sub-20
hace mucha ilusión volver a ganar ahora otra vez con el equipo absoluto.
Y me hace mucha ilusión volver a ganar ahora otra vez con el equipo absoluto.
Veníamos con el equipo
y tenemos también aquí a Sergio Jiménez, que es uno de los veteranos casi de este equipo. Llevas ya unos cuantos añitos en las filas del Playas. ¿Qué significa para ti proclamarte campeón de Europa con el equipo?
Sí, bueno, la verdad que es especial compartir equipo con estos grandes atletas y bueno, la verdad que significa mucho para mí, que llevo muchos años en el club. Pues ganar ese título es importante para todos nosotros.
Pues ya veis, son los chicos del Playas de Castellón, se hacen con el título. El año pasado no pudieron subir al podium, hoy aquí en casa sí, y lo hacen además con doblete, tanto en hombres como en mujeres.
Many years. And Playas de Castellón, winning this particular title for the first time, add their list to a fairly extensive roll of honours of Spanish clubs, which includes the Bikila Club, Union Guadalajara, Adidas, and even turning the clock back to the 1970s, Educación y Descanso Palencia, who won back-to-back in 1975 and 1976. So, quite a heritage as far as Spanish clubs are concerned in this competition. So just one event to go. That'll be the mixed relay. So it's 4 times 1 lap of the short circuit of 1,450 meters. One of the short laps. And it'll go man, woman, man, woman. Well, the defending champions are Playas de Castellón. We're expecting them to actually field exactly the same team that they had 12 months ago in Hueras. Well, teams can nominate up to 6 runners, and they can change their runners in the course of the event. But they do have to stick to man, woman, that formation. Well, in the mixed relays, we have been juggling around with formats, particularly on the track. We're now actually starting to settle on a fixed format. So in the past, you could actually opt for having your 4 runners in any order you liked. Now it does appear as though we're actually going for a particularly specific type of format. Sort of got there organically over the years, let's say. Well, the mixed relay came onto the programme for the European Champion Clubs Cup cross-country just 12 months ago. That was the very first occasion. Of course, it was inaugurated at the European Cross-Country Championships back in 2017, and it's become a very, very popular initiative in just a short space of time. It's an excellent way of bringing middle distance runners into the fold of cross-country running, and it's been well taken up by many of Europe's leading cross-country nations and track nations. We're going to squeeze in a medal ceremony before then. So this the senior women's individual medals. So, as you can hear the infield presenter saying, bronze medal goes to Fancy Chirono of Sporting Club de Portugal. Chirono, winner in 2019, second last year, third on this occasion, now has a full set of medals to her name. Irene Sanchez Escribano, competing for the Adidas club. One of four Spanish clubs in the senior women's competition. But the gold medal goes, and who would have expected this, to Angelina Nadai Loeleth. Medals presented by Spanish Federation President Raul Chapardo, also a European Athletics and World Athletics Council member. But the honours today are with Angelina Nadai Loeleth of the Ali Club South Tel Aviv. Well, in principle, jumping the gun really.
Listen to Israel's national anthem.
Well, the Israeli national anthem.
Big applause for Fancy Chirono, Irene Sanchez Escribano, and Angelina Nadai Lohale.
Well, there you go, confirmation of the medalists. I have to say, I think I said it a few times during the course of the race, I'm really looking forward to what Angelina Nadai Loeleth can do on the track, because in principle she's a 1500 metre runner, and she just won with huge aplomb that race over 8.4 kilometres. She's certainly changed her training around, or there's a real diamond in the rough which we've never known about before.
Team medal ceremony in the senior women's race.
Entrega de medallas por equipos en categoría senior femenina.
So now the team honours.
Miquel Moya, director general de deportes de la Generalitat Valenciana. En tercera posición y medalla de bronce.
So in third place, Sporting Club de Braga. getting the medals. Mariana Machado in 4th place, Mezalou Berge in 5th, Lilia Lemos in 18th. Well, if she could only just come up a couple more places. And then the veteran, the former European cross-country champion from 2010, Jessica Augusto, still at 40 years of age, guiding the team, passing on her experience. Augusto on the far right-hand side of your screen. It's Machado as the leading runner who gets the plaque for finishing 3rd. Second place medals go to the Adidas Club. Irene Sanchez Escribano, after finishing 2nd in the individual competition, gets a silver medal for the team contest. Abueda Marquez 8th. Spanish national record holder Marta Galimani. This must have felt like a sprint to her. She came home 15th. And Nuria Lagueros, the former Spanish national cross-country champion, in 20th place on this occasion.
And the title stays home with local athletes of Playas de Castellón.
It's the presenter in Oropesa del Mar milking it for all it's worth, and huge cheers for the home club and the host club, Club Playas de Castellón. That's Cristina Espejo. Nada Estella also up there, and the last woman to get a medal, last year's individual winner, Lakina Amabor. We missed out the first one to get her medal, Naima Alt Alibu, the Spanish national anthem.
Para las chicas del Playas de Castellón, campeonas de Europa de campo a través por clubes, una vez más, pero esta vez en casa.
Yo no soy niña, soy tu bizcochito, pero tengo todo lo que tiene delito. Que me pongan nenas o que me derrito, el mal de ojo que me mando me lo quito. Yo no soy niña, soy tu bizcochito, pero tengo todo lo que tiene delito. Que me pongan nenas o que me derrito, el mal de ojo que me mando me lo quito.
So all smiles right the way across the podium. Adidas really enjoying themselves. A few selfies up there. Memorable event. Very, very tight team contest indeed. Just 2 points separating the 3 teams on the podium. So we've just got one more race. That will start in about 10 minutes' time. The mixed relay. I was just giving you a few ideas about the format just before the medal ceremonies underwent. Just got one more medal ceremony to squeeze in before the mixed relay, and that'll be the senior men's presentations. Those are the teams, 12 clubs from 8 different countries who are going to be competing. Club Playas de Castellón, the defending champions in this event as well. Auvergne, of course, useful team. And the 2 Portuguese clubs should be battling for medals as well. Sporting Club de Braga and Sporting Club de Portugal in this competition. Both teams have got very, very useful quartets indeed. Says 5.8 kilometers. Well, that's one of the short circuits each of just under 1,500 meters, 1,450 meters to be precise. There's the Pamplona Club.
También tenemos al equipo francés Clermont Auvergne.
And looking for another European title on home soil, Playas de Castellón.
Leeds. Players being bigged up. Lead-off runner for Castellón, Abdurrahman El Kayami. Braga have Joe Lopez on the opening leg. Well, they're away. Well, Pamplona up there. Braga as well.
El año pasado el equipo anfitrión, el Playas de Castellón, se hizo con la victoria por delante de los equipos portugueses.
At the moment, Abdurrahman El Kayami just taking it easy, just tucked in there. So this over 1,450 meters. And of course, they still have about 200 meters of running on the sand as well. There's no respite even for these men who are the middle distance runners. It's Pamplona at the front at the moment. Abdulkader Al-Kham. So it's Al-Kham at the moment. Auvergne in second. That's Gaetan Ariu. Flies to Castellón. Well, Al-Kayami has steadily moved up, decided not to get too involved in that sprint immediately from the gun. Lisbon, Sporting I should say, Sporting Lisbon, Sporting Club de Portugal rather. Sporting Lisbon being the club, the football club that wears those colours. It's part of the same multi-sport organisation. So it's Pamplona with Abdulkader Al-Kham. Auvergne. Now Al-Khamani getting up, tucking a very nice little manoeuvre there from Al-Khayam, overtaking on the inside, getting up on the shoulder of his compatriot from the Pamplona club. So Kayami Nice job there from Kayami. Kayami now really starting to impose his authority on this race, comfortably over those barriers, down this tricky downhill slope that can really knock you out of your stride if you don't take it well. But Kayami, no problems for this man. He was only 20th in the National Cross Country Championships, but he is really a 1500 metre man. Has a best of 3:38.17 from last year. 27 years of age, Kayami. So he's going to hand over to Mireia Arnadillo. Arnadillo, 2021 under 20 1500 metres bronze medalist, and now Pliers de Castillon, a really convincing lead. It's Pamplona and Sporting battling behind them, and Auvergne are up there as well, but at the moment it's Mireia Arnadillo really running away with this. You can see there was 6. Well, Regensdorf came through very strongly at the end of that last lap. That was a bit of a surprise. Auvergne now starting to drift back. The other French teams also up there. That's Dessine's Mesiu Athletisme. Well, Mireia Arnadillo really starting to pull away from the women behind her. It's Amy Pratt for Sporting at the moment, but she's got a long way to make up the World Championship 7th placer in the steeplechase. So it's the Briton Pratt running for Sporting, who's in 2nd place at the moment, but no doubt at all who's winning, and winning by a quite considerable margin. It's Arnadillo. Arnadillo really putting a lot of distance between her and the chasing teams. Now this looks as though it could be yet another Pliers de Castillon victory. It's been a fantastic day for the host club. We haven't yet got confirmation of who the hosts for 2024 will be, but it would be wonderful if it was to come back here, because there'd be plenty to celebrate and plenty of titles to defend. Arnadillo, I'm making that about, probably as much as 100 metres maybe that Arnadillo has on Amy Pratt. You have to remember how good a runner Amy Pratt is. So, Arnadillo, well, she was also 6th at last year's World Under-20 Championships as well. Still only 19 years of age, the young Spaniard. Not, well, I wouldn't say not a problem. She made hard work of that second barrier, but she's got over them, and they've only got to negotiate them once. That's potentially the worst part of the course behind her. Pratt should have fewer problems being an experienced steeplechaser. Hasn't taken anything away from her impetus. So it's Arnadillo. Looking a really, really quality athlete. Not that far away from the changeover zone now. He's going to hand over to Victor Ruiz. So turning into the changeover zone now. So Onadillo hands over to Victor Ruiz. Ruiz, an 8.16 steeplechaser and a very good 1500 meter man as well. In the latter part of the stages, Sporting closed down a little bit on Club Playas de Castellón. 10 seconds gap between Castellón and Sporting. Regensdorf right up there in the battle for the medals. Surprise third place for the Swiss club. So it's Victor Ruiz, really doing well at the moment. He ran a very decisive third leg 12 months ago when Club Playas de Castellón took the very first mixed relay title at these European Champion Clubs Cup cross country. Ruiz also was on the gold medal winning team of the 2018 Spanish team that took that title at the European Cross Country Championships. So Ruiz really powering away now. Making it count. This is a really talented quartet that the home club has been fielding. They got Winnie Nanyondo to come on the last leg. Long way back to the chasers. Not even in sight. Oh, this is a terrific leg from Ruiz. Many respects. Well, Al-Kayami and Arnadillo did all the hard work over the opening two legs, but this has been the crucial one. This has really put Playas de Castellón very much in control of this race. So Playas de Castellón, huge gap between them and the chasers. Ruiz is an 8.16 steeplechaser. Absolutely no problems whatsoever with those barriers. Just hops over them, almost took them in his stride. Arnadillo had a little bit more difficulty with them. So Ruiz still powering away. He's decided to go and slot the armband around his wrist. Now he's whipped it off as he comes into the changeover zone to hand over to Winnie Nanyondo. Well, this could be the valedictory leg. It's hard to see her being beaten bar accidents. Nanyondo, hugely experienced runner. Well, it's a massive gap back to the second place. 90 metres. Sporting Club de Portugal in second place. Decinas Messieurs come through for third, so a good leg, good third leg from the Decinas Messieurs man. Regensdorf slipping back into fourth with 19 seconds adrift on Playas de Castellón. Well, Nanyondo made the final of the World Championships 1500 metres on several occasions. And this is Salome Afonso for Sporting now, looking quite secure in the silver medal position. Still a bit of a battle behind her for bronze. The huge gap between Winnie Nagnondo wearing the green vest of Playas de Castellón and the rest. Oh, she went off course, but hopefully that's not going to cause too much of a problem. She had to stop and check back. I think that was just a lack of concentration there from Nagnondo. Maybe it was one of those tapes not being easily seen in this sunlight. Nevertheless, and it will only have cost her a couple of seconds though, and she's still well on course for victory. Doesn't like going into the sand either. Still think she's got too much ground for Sporting to seriously make up, despite the fact that Salome Afonso is a very good Portuguese international, but it's still Nagnondo. Nagnondo, fourth at the World Championships over 800 metres in 2019. Fourth at last year's World Indoor Championships over 1500 metres. Eighth at the World Championships over 1500 metres in Eugene. Great championship runner. Just missed out on the medals at the very highest level. But here she's running a fantastic leg despite those couple of slips. Well, the Sporting runner still isn't in shot. Haven't turned the corner. Nagnondo now just can relax a little bit. She's doing everything right despite that slight diversion and struggling a little bit into the sand. Now this is the easy bit of the course. Long straight here. Couple more turns. She doesn't like that either. But just look at the gap she's got. It's difficult to see, but I think it might be Decinas Mejeur have come through for silver medal position. Now, need to really look back and check, but that didn't look like a Sporting runner to me. So, for the second year in succession, Winnie Nagnondo of Uganda is anchoring Playas de Castellón to the gold in the mixed relay. So Winnie Nagnondo bringing Playas de Castellón home. One last turn. And here's the finish line in sight. Just a few meters to go, and Winnie Nagnondo helps Playas de Castellón defend the mixed relay title. The fifth and final race to be contested at the European Champion Clubs cross country. Sporting, well, it was Sporting that came through with Salome Afonso. They're out of sight. We only saw Decinas Mejeur. Oh, Decinas Mejeur, very happy. Perhaps a slight surprise when you looked at the form on paper, but no doubt at all about the winners. Once again, they'll be standing on top of the podium, the host club, Playas de Castellón. Well, Sporting, second 12 months ago on home soil in Hueras. Third, I should have said. Sporting Braga indeed was second, but they're out of the medals this time. Sporting Club de Portugal take the silver medals, but no doubt at all we'll wait for confirmation of the results. But that was a very convincing win by Playas Castellón. Well, in the end, I'm just looking at the results that are coming in. They're not on your screen just yet, but it does look like Players Castillon won by, well, phenomenal margin of around 20 odd seconds. Sorry, getting a few conflicting results coming in. Might well be. Oh, they're giving it to Regensdorf. I'm wondering what happened there. Might well be that Sporting have been disqualified. Sporting was certainly the second team home, but Regensdorf get second place. 20 seconds, 7 seconds in arrears. So some drama at the end of that mixed relay. It's looking as though Sporting Club might have been disqualified. What sort of infraction, we don't know. Well, the sun has risen higher in the sky. It's now about 16 degrees. Wind's picked up just a little bit. So we'll quickly move on to the victory ceremonies for both. Both the senior men's medals and also then the mixed relay.
Vale, pues en unos instantes vamos a escuchar las palabras del equipo que ha revalidado el título de campeones de Europa, campeones y campeonas del relevo mixto, el Playas de Castellón.
I can hear from the infield presenter, he's marshalled the Playas de Castellón team together. As we look at this rather splendid overhead shot of Oropesa del Mar, wonderful advert for the town. Glorious beaches, clear sea.
Bueno, pues estamos con el equipo que acaba de conseguir la tercera medalla por equipos para el equipo local. Para el Playas de Castellón, los chicos y chicas del relevo mixto ganaron el año pasado y han vuelto a ganar, pero Víctor, ¿qué significa ganar esta carrera en casa, delante de tu gente?
Bueno, pues como bien decías, revalidamos título del año pasado y significa mucho, tanto para nosotros como atletas, tanto para el club. Muy contentos, yo creo que hemos hecho un trabajo los cuatro brillante y se ha visto recompensado con este título.
Tenemos entre las atletas que están aquí con nosotros Winnie Anyondo. Ella ha sido, bueno, es una de las mejores especialistas de 1500 del mundo. Ella ha llevado el testigo del Playas hasta la victoria en esa última posta. Winnie, was it an easy or a difficult course? An easy or a difficult race for you?
What I can say is not too hard, but it's not too easy. There is where you find sand, it's not easy to run in the sand. So, but I find it easy because my teammates were already created some gaps, so it wasn't hard for me.
Bueno, ha sido una carrera, dice, medio, porque la parte de arena es un poquito difícil. Nos lo están diciendo muchos atletas que se están encontrando hoy aquí. Bueno, y vamos a hablar con el hombre que ha abierto la carrera, esa primera posta. ¿Era la primera vez que corrías en un tipo de circuito como este?
La verdad es que sí, era la primera vez que corría en un circuito con arena. La verdad que la parte de la arena era durísima. Y nada, el objetivo era intentar sacar la máxima ventaja al principio para que los compañeros puedan, pues eso, aguantar la posición y mantenerse lo más delante posible y así, como hemos visto, hemos hecho un grandísimo equipo y revalidamos otro título más para el equipo y nada, orgulloso de formar parte de este gran equipo.
Equipo, que lo dicen todos mucho. Claro, el Playas de Castellón es el organizador y el Playas de Castellón acaba de conseguir su tercera medalla por equipos después de la carrera senior de hombres, la de senior de mujeres. Y ahora también, Mireia, el relevo mixto, podemos decir más o menos a modo de resumen, un buen campeonato para el Playas, ¿tú crees?
Sí, yo creo que sí, al final hemos conseguido muchos títulos. Yo creo que tenemos que estar orgullosos todos los integrantes de este equipo. Al final vestir esta camiseta es un placer y más hacerlo esta vez en nuestra casa, pues ganar estos títulos aquí no puede ser mejor.
Bueno, pues ya veis, los chicos y chicas del relevo mixto del Playas que acaban de arrasar en la última carrera internacional. Ahora en un ratito los 5 kilómetros Open en esta Copa de Europa.
So after that thrilling race, we're going to just cut away from the moment as we look at these waves coming in from the Mediterranean. I think it's about time for the senior men's medals. So as I mentioned at the climax of the race, African runners representing 3 different European clubs from 3 different European countries. So in third place, Ruben Longosiwa of Kenya, competing for the Benfica club. Longosiwa, better known as a road runner, but very comfortable on this type of cross-country course. Uganda's World Championships 5,000 meters bronze medalist, Oscar Chelimo, competing for Kazone Noseto. Fine runner on the track. Perhaps cross-country, not 100% his preferred surface, but this man just loves it. Rodrigo Quizera, once again winning the European Champion Clubs Cup cross-country title. Quizera wins for the 2nd year in succession, representing Club Playas de Castellón.
Fuerte aplauso para los 3 mejores senior de la
Well,
carrera masculina.
Quizera
Por segundo año
comes from Burundi, but he's been based in Spain since 2019 and represents the Playas de Castellón club. Still represents Burundi internationally. Can he make it 3 in succession next year, I wonder? Playas de Castellón, of course, as the defending champions, qualify as of right.
Another team medal ceremony in the senior men's race.
Ceremonia de entrega de medallas por equipos en categoría senior masculina. Entrega José Luis de Carlos, representación de la European Athletics. Y María Jiménez, en representación de
I'm just looking back. You have to go back to 2006, the last time someone won the title 3 years in succession. That's Cercenai Tedessa. Was competing for the Spanish club Adidas, even though he was Eritrean. Tedessa won from 2004 to 2006 in succession. Just wondering whether Quizera can do the same next year. But now we have the presentations for the team title.
En tercera posición y medalla de bronce.
The 3rd place and bronze medal is for Italy with Casone Noceto.
So, in 3rd place, just getting the bronze medal on a tiebreak from Benfica, it's Casone Noceto. Oscar Chelimo already been on the podium once, adding a team bronze to his silver medal. Alongside him, Italo Cozzolo, who finished 12th, Luca Alfieri 18th, and Badr Jafari 57th.
En segunda posición y medalla de plata.
The 2nd place and silver medal is for Sporting Clube de Portugal.
Sporting Club de Portugal, known by the short form of just Sporting. There should only be 4 people up there. Normally it's only decorated. Yes, exactly. I think the coach is up there and just pointed to Vincent Rono that he should be the one getting the medal, not him. Nevertheless. So Vincent Rono on the far left of your screen, leading them home in 4th place, just missing out on an individual medal, accompanied by Ru Pinto in 11th, Miguel Marquez in 15th, and Ru Teixeira in 38th place. But Playas de Castellón, well, just before they won the senior men's team title, senior women had stood on the podium. There's Rodrigo Quizera, Sergio Paniagua on the far left-hand side, that's Aranderas. Oh, that's Sergio Jimenez, I should say. And Sergio Paniagua on the far right-hand side. So just to confirm from right to left, Sergio Paniagua, Rodriguez Quizera, Aaron Las Heras, and Sergio Jimenez, the senior men's team champions for Playas de Castellón. So Playas de Castellón, the most convincing winners of the day with just 12 points. 3 men in the top 8, led home by the individual winner, Rodrigo Quizera. Not many people on the beach. I'm surprised. I thought it would be a wonderful day to go out walking on the beach, even if you're not interested in cross-country running. Having said that, what a pity if you aren't.
This isn't over. We have the total runner, 5 kilometers here in the beach of Oropesa de Mar, but also in the city, 100 athletes ready to try the course.
So the Spanish broadcast will continue with the Open 5K locally, but the European Athletics live stream will leave it here. We hope you enjoyed the last 3.5 hours of the 2023 European Champion Clubs Cup Cross Country. We've seen some fantastic running from many great international athletes. Playas de Castellón, wonderful hosts, and also took the senior women's and senior men's title as well as the mixed relay. So we just want to wish you the very best. Enjoy the rest of the day. Join us again on the European Athletics YouTube channel for broadcasts including the World Athletics Indoor Tour, silver and bronze meetings, including next Saturday from Mondeville in France. And this all leads up indoor athletics to the European Athletics Indoor Championships coming to you from Istanbul, when I, Phil Minshall, will be with Hannah England and we'll be bringing you every minute of the action. But for now, it's time to say goodbye.
En unos instantes iremos con la salida de esta carrera popular de 5 kilómetros que va a ir tanto por la playa como por la hierba como por el asfalto, pero antes la última entrega de medallas de esta competición.